हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी, धन्यवाद प्रणाम।
हरि बोल मत।
प्रभु जी,
हरि बोल।
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी, धन्यवाद प्रणाम।
कृष्ण 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 हरे नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले मते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिने ते नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसदि गौरा भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नित्य गौर हरि बोल नित्य गौर हरि जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद। हरि नाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरोन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरून् श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगणा ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितंश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिनि नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणी निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणी पंचाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरतिसे नमः। पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्ण भक्तरूपा स्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताक्षं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम्। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much for joining. So we'll continue our discussion from 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd chapter, prayer by the demigods for Lord Krishna. And so we have been discussing from the Krishna book and also Bhagavatam, because this Krishna book is all the summary study of 10th chapter. And with the causeless mercy of our Guru Parampara, and thanks to all of your inspiration, we have been making an attempt to glorify the Supreme Lord through our humble attempt. And yes, we might be imperfect, but the words that is coming from Sudhir Goswami, Srila Prabhupada, those are perfect. We're just trying to repeat them. And Sarva Vedanta Saram hi Sri Bhagavatam Isyate Tadrasamrita Triptasya na Netra Rati Kvachit. Somehow or other, once we get attached to Srimad Bhagavatam, especially this beautiful pastimes of the Lord, somehow or other we're getting attached. We will not get the Rati or the attraction anywhere else. Na Anyatra Rati Kvachit. That is the supreme potency of this beautiful pastimes of Hari Katha. And here in the beginning of the 2nd chapter, we have been discussing how Kamsa started torturing all the residents of Yadu dynasty there, and Andhaka and Bhoja and everybody, and they started going here and there, and seeing the difficulty situation of all the people there, Lord ordered Yogamaya, now you do some service now. What is the service you have to do? Yes, you first of all take the baby, the Lord Sesa, from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini, and you appear in the Yasoda's home and as a daughter of Yasoda. And then we discussed, yes, it's like the benediction that Yogamaya received, that how he'll be worshipped by so many people, and how she will be known in different places in a different ways. We discussed in detail last time, right? What is the difference between the Saktas and the Vaisnavas, and how, like, yes, the people will worship Yoga Maya, the Maya potency of the Lord for material enjoyment. But the devotees of the Supreme Lord Krishna, their only objective is to attain the love of Godhead. And yes, the devotees of the Lord, they worship Radha Krishna, Sitaram, Rukmini Dwarkadhis, or Lakshmi Narasimha in different ways. But their main intent and main purpose is that how can we really purify ourselves? How can we really develop the love of Godhead? There is a two process, like Anartha Nibruti, Artha Prabhuti. Anartha Nibruti means, how can I really get rid of the unwanted things from my life? And Artha Prabhuti, how can I really develop the love of Godhead, Krishna within me? Like if somebody is diseased, yes, how can I get rid of all the viruses? And how can I really get more supplements that I can really energize the body? That's what we always say, that yes, we are diseased, we are in a disease condition, and that should be the sum and substance of our life. And not that, okay, I want to get nice ICU bed or wonderful hospital and maybe wonderful people all around to look after me, because they're not coming out of the hospital. I'm not intending to really come out of this disease condition. So that's how we discussed that. Yes, it is important, like Yogamaya, this is that, okay, you take care of the people, because once they worship, you serve the benediction. But at the same time, even Yogamaya, you see how a lot of devotees are doing so much sacrifice for the appearance of Lord Krishna. We heard that how Vasudeva and Devaki, they had to go through so much of sacrifice. They had to give their 6 sons. Of course, there's a different pastime why they appeared, but still, like even Vasudeva and Devaki, they had to go through so much of pain, to hand over their children, right? Or even Yoga Maya, right? So those he appears as the daughter of my Yasoda, but neither Yasoda knew that okay, she is my daughter, or even the Yoga Maya, like she also could not receive the motherly affection of Mother Yasoda. Why? Right? Because it is the instruction of the Supreme Lord for a higher cause. They were really thinking that how can you really please the Supreme Lord? Because that is more important than what is really pleasing to me. That is the mood you see, right? All across as we go through these pastimes, right? We hear this constant theme. For Krishnas to appear, like we always tell again and again, yes, that we have to pay the price. Because it's a way of purifying ourselves to go to the Supreme Abode. Because otherwise, somebody might be really elevated as a CEO of a company, or you are really, part of a elite group, but you don't have the qualification, right? You will be thrown out. But more important is that how do you really train that person, empower that person, so that he really goes to that person, so that he can be in that area, right? Like Lord is telling us through this pastime that how we should transform our this bhoga ichha to like seva bhav, from bhoga bhav to seva bhav, from the enjoyment propensity to the serving propensity. How can I really serve the Lord? That is the qualification required to be in the association of the Lord. Once we transform our heart from that bhoga ichha, bhoga vancha, to Krishna indriya priti vancha, then we are eligible to go back to Godhead. Or even while staying in this material world, we can feel the presence of Lord. We can feel the the plan of the Lord. We can see the hand of the Lord. And we discussed about Lord Balram as well. How Sudhir Goswami talks about three names: Sankarsan, Rama, and Balabhadra. That yes, he is Sankarsan because he was taken from the womb of Mother Devaki to the womb of Rohini, and he's known as Ram because he gives pleasure to all the residents of Gokul and all the inhabitants, and he's Balabhadra because he possesses so much extensive strength, physical strength and spiritual strength, and that's why we always pray to Lord Baladev, Lord Balabhadra. Yes, he's very powerful. He's very strong. At the same time, he purifies the devotees. So recently, because next week we are going to Puri, Jagannatham Puri. We'll be spending 1 week there. So we're just hearing a couple of beautiful pastimes. How Lord Balabhadra is really so powerful. So one time, one Panda, early in the morning, it was really early in the morning, he was going for Mangalarti. And somehow it was still dark. And somehow he was walking on that Baisi Pahacha, the 22 steps while going to the Sri Mandira. And somehow he didn't realize, and then one monkey had passed, and this Panda really stepped on it. But then he saw left and right, nobody is watching, nobody is there, and he just tried to clean his foot on the stones and put some water nearby, and then he just went by. But if you're going for Mangalarti, you want to do the Arti of the Lord, if you are somehow really come across some blood or some urine or stool, right, you have to take bath once again. You have to be completely pure before approaching the Supreme Lord. You cannot just have that chalta hai attitude. You can just go and that okay, I'll do the service. But he saw that okay, nobody is watching me. Let me go and perform this Mangalarti Seva. And he went and he started bringing all the paraphernalia and putting it together, and he was about to offer it to the Lord, and then he realized that Lord Balabhadra, he's also Ananta Vasudeva, he's also Ananta, Lord Ananta, Lord Caesar, right? And he just came in the form of a big serpent, just like that. And then this Panda realized that yes, Lord Balabhadra is watching, he's not happy with me. And then he went back again, and then he did all the samskaras and came back. Especially in Puri, you might have heard that, right? Like if there are two persons having some discussion, some debate, and they were, oh, can you really take a vow in the name of Kalia, in the name of Lord Jagannath? Yeah. I take the vow of Lord Jagannath, and I have not done it, or this or that. They will do anything. They can say anything. But the other person says, can you now take the vow in the name of Bada Thakura, Lord Baladev? They get scared. Right? Yes, the Lord Balabhadra, Lord Baladev. Yes, he is supremely merciful. At the same time, he brings the discipline in our life. He is the supreme spiritual master. He is the Adi Guru, and he teaches that how to really approach the Supreme Lord. So, yes, we discussed that as well, that how once you sing Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, the name of Lord Ram, right, that we chant in our Krishna mantra, represent Parsuram, Lord Ramachandra, Balaram, and Radha Raman, because all of them are same. They are not different. And like we proceeded further, that as Yogamaya heard these orders from Lord Krishna, right? Like here once again, we see that that how there is so much of cordial relationship between the Lord and his associates. And then Yogamaya heard, she said, so we eat, my Lord, tatha iti. And then he's vam tatha iti, like she not only said once, yes, I will do it, but then she said, yes, I will do it with the name of worm, right? So there Srila Prabhupada talks about it very much in detail, that how the words that is coming from the Supreme Lord, they are the absolute truth. Nobody can deny it, nobody can ignore it, nobody can say no to it. That the words coming from Bhagavad Gita, that's the instruction of the Lord. And when the spiritual master, the devotees really repeat those messages, right? We should not ignore them. And just like following the footsteps of Yogamaya, we should say, so be it. I will do it. And not only I'll do it, yes, I will do it as you say. Karisye vachanam tava. And that was the words of Arjuna. Yes, oh Lord, I will do it as you said. And then what happens? That everybody realized that yes, Devaki had that miscarriage, because the child was carried from her womb to Rohini. But then we hear that how there is a awakening of Lord Krishna in Vasudeva's mind. And there is a awakening of Lord Krishna in Vasudeva's mind. And especially, we were discussing a couple of verses last time. We were discussing in detail about how Sukadeva Goswami is reminding us again and again. Here we are not talking about the appearance of any ordinary person. Here we are talking about the appearance of the Supreme Lord. And that's the reason he says again and again, here we are talking about Sarvatma, we are talking about the Supreme Lord, Viswatma. And so let's go to this couple of verses where, okay, so we are discussing, let's do a quick recap and we'll go. Bhagavan api Viswatma bhaktanam abhayankara avivesatma bhagena manana kadundavi. So here, how many times, like especially the speaker and the hearer, everybody should be clear that when the Lord Krishna is appearing, he's not an ordinary living entity, that he is coming out of force because of the past activities of karma. He's Viswatma, he's a super soul, he's a Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he's a Abhayankara, he gives the fearlessness. And but whenever a child appears, right, from the mother's womb, like the child is so fearful, the first thing he does is starts crying. And even if the baby doesn't cry, the doctor gives a slap and a cry. Because the child has to realize that this place is the misery, the place of misery. You have to cry, cry, cry. But then there is also a nice section in our third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. It's called Jantu Stuti, like how a child prays in the womb of the mother. That somehow I am suffering so much in the womb, and whenever I come out, right, please ensure that I don't forget. A devotee of the Lord doesn't forget after coming from the womb. Yes, he cries not only for the material things but for Krishna. So here we heard that yes, we are talking about the appearance of the Supreme Lord, and yes, we hear that again and again, that we are not just talking about appearance of somebody through the like discharge of a semen from Vasudeva to Devaki and so on, but it is really how first Vasudeva became Vasudeva consciousness, right? Like he became Krishna consciousness, and then from the mind of Vasudeva got transferred to the Devaki. And we hear this, we discuss a little bit. Sabibrat Paurusam Dhama Bhrajamana Yatharavi. Dhama, like his Vasudeva's mind is considered as a dham because the Lord appeared in his mind. So we discussed that dham means wherever Lord manifests with his Nam Rupa Guna Lila. And his Dham refers to the place where the Supreme Lord resides. And he resides, with his present by his Nam Rupa Guna Lila. And whenever there is a Nam Rupa Guna Lila, that becomes a Dham. Right? Yes, we might be staying in Bangalore, Bombay, or Delhi, but at our house, but still, if we are always remembering and chanting and reminding ourselves the Nam Rupa Guna Lila, that becomes a Dham. And why we say, we glorify so much Vrindavan Dham, Dwarka Dham, Mayapur Dham, Sri Khetrapuri Dham, because there is always glorification of Nam Rupa Guna Lila happening. And once like a person is really manifested with the Nam Rupa Guna Lila, because he becomes so much extraordinary powerful that even the enemies, they realize, they get astonished. Oh wow, he's really empowered. And right, so here, right, like once again, Vishnu Chakravarti, Thakur, and all our acharyas talk about that, how there was so much effulgence from Vasudeva's body. Tato jaganmangalam achyutamsam samahitam surasutena devi dadhara sarvatmakam atmabhutam kasthayatanandakaram manasta. Now here we heard that how there is a beautiful analogy, how the transfer happened. This is just like Yathanandakaram manastha. Anandakaram is really moon, because like man and moon, like there is a lot of connection between the mind and the moon. That's why it's discussing some time back, right? Like, if somebody goes crazy, they say it's called lunatic. So, and we, during our Ekadasi session, we discussed that how that moon really creates a lot of effect, the movement of the moon, on the mind. So here, what is happening, and like why this moon's comparison is given? Yathanandam karam manastha. Like we said that how when there is a sun is setting, the effulgence or the light of the sun gets transferred to the moon. It's a transfer. And when the full moon rises, we see the effulgence. Similarly, the effulgence or the Krishna consciousness from the mind of Vasudeva now got transferred to the Devaki's consciousness. And then Devaki became effulgent. Sura Sutena Devi. From Sura Suta, from the son of Surasen, to Devaki. That's how the transfer happened. And so here, like Prabhupada is really elaborating that, that this transfer is this process of Diksha. Once we really approach the spiritual master, right? They really empower us, they really transform us through this Krishna consciousness process. So what happens once we are initiated by the right person, who is always carrying Krishna in their heart, right? We also carry the Supreme Lord in our own heart. So that's why this Diksha is so important. That we take shelter of the spiritual master, and they really empower us. They really, transfer their faith, transfer their consciousness within us. And that's what Acharya Upasanam. We get closer to the Lord and closer to the Lord's devotees or the Guru, and the Guru really empowers us. And yes, that's why, like one said, we hear that Dhyana Vastatadgatena Manasa Pasandiyam Yogina. It was a beautiful verse, right? How the yogis, they only meditate on the Lord, means that how a devotee carries the Lord within himself, and then wherever he goes, like Tirtha Kurbant Tirthani, like it is mentioned that like a place becomes pilgrimage because of the presence of the devotees, because they carry because they carry the Supreme Lord within their heart. So that's how a place becomes pilgrimage, because of the presence of the even the devotees. And that's how it becomes Dham. Okay, so there's one more analogy here is given that how in the next verse we'll hear that. Sadeva ki sarva jagan nivasa bhutani taram nareje bhojendra gehe agni sikhe varuddha saraswati jnana khale yatha sati. So how the Lord was manifesting from Devaki, like this example is given. It's just like in a pot, the fire is there, and you cannot see the fire, the effulgence of the fire. Or if the person is knowledgeable, but if he's not distributing, you cannot see the knowledge. Similarly, because Mother Devaki is was in that jail, Bhojendra Gehe, Bhoja Indra, the king of Bhoja Gehe, in that prison, because he was there, her effulgence or her glories was not really visible to others. So here Prabhupada describes just like you see, like we always hear that pratis loke pratyakshare nana artha ka hai. Just here Sukdev Goswami, he just gave one like two words, jnana khale, is an one analogy, right, to how was like in Devaki's Krishna was there, and it was not visible to others. And it was compared to a jnana khale. If knowledge is meant for distribution, if it is not distributed, it's of no use. And Prabhupada elaborates on this point. He says the knowledge is meant for distribution. Although there is so much of knowledge, but people are just trying to keep it within themselves. And especially Lord has given this Bhagavad Gita, but somehow or other people are concocting it, and it is not being distributed. And that's why Lord Krishna appeared as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so that it can be distributed. And he ordered, not only he did it, but also he ordered all Indians to take up the cause of distributing the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita entire world. Yare dekho tare ko Krishna upadesh, amara gyan guru hai tara. So all of you become spiritual master. And what do you do? Jare dekho tare ko. That yes, you distribute this knowledge of Krishna with everybody. And somehow, right, like India is so fortunate to have this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, but Prabhupada is saying Indians have not done their proper duty. What is the duty of Indian? Indian, garv se ko hum Bharatiya hai, right? So, but what is the duty of the Bharatiya? What is the duty of being Indian? So distributing the knowledge of Krishna. Now, therefore, the Krishna consciousness movement has been set up to distribute this knowledge. It is as it is. Prabhupada was saying, just to fulfill this need, right? This movement has been set up, and we're just attempting to distribute this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita without any destruction. That's why Prabhupada always says, as it is, without any compromise, without any mundane compromises. And we are just here to awaken the Krishna consciousness. Like here, once again, this Krishna consciousness was there within Devaki, right? Nitya Siddha Krishna Prabhu Sadhya Kogunoy, Sarvanadi Siddha Siddha Karoyoda. The Krishna consciousness always in everybody's heart, but that is in the dormant stage, right? Once you come in front of the devotees, or like, or once we in the Sadhu Sangha or through Shastra, that becomes awakened, right? So that's the, we're talking about awakening Krishna consciousness and become devotees of Krishna, right? So, Prabhupada is saying that yes, therefore the proper distribution knowledge is beacon by which not only the whole world will benefit, but India's glory will be magnified. And the true glories of India is that the distribution of Bhagavad Gita, not through technology, not through vaccine or by food or any other way. Yes, they are good for the time being, but people will forget it once the food is over or the some COVID disease is over, right? But the proper distribution or the proper glories of India can happen only through the distribution of Bhagavad Gita, only through the distribution of Krishna's knowledge. And very beautifully, Prabhupada is saying, Kamsa tried to arrest Krishna consciousness within his house, Bhojendra Gehe, with the result that Kamsa with all opulence was later vanquished. Similarly, the real knowledge of Bhagavad Gita was being choked by unscrupulous Indian leaders, with the result that India's culture, knowledge of the Supreme were being lost. Now, however, Krishna consciousness is spreading. So what Prabhupada is trying to say here, that how Kamsa try to put this Vasudeva and Devaki in jail and trying to vanquish over them, but then he got vanquished. And similarly, like at that point of time when Prabhupada was distributing, even so-called the leaders of the society, they were calling Prabhupada the CIA agents, and or in other parts of the world, they were saying that, oh, you are just a cult, you are just brainwashing this and that, right? But how like this Krishna consciousness is spreading more and more, and though people who complained, they really got vanquished with the power of Krishna. So because the Supreme Personality of Godhead was within her womb, Devaki illuminated the entire atmosphere in that place where she was confirmed. Seeing her jubilant, pure and smiling, Kamsa thought, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, who is now within her, will kill me. Devaki was never before looked so brilliant, so jubilant. So once again, like Lord has, Kamsa realized, the Lord has appeared in Devaki's womb. And like now, how do you really understand in the current context? Prabhupada is giving that. Yes, Lord is saying, yada yada hi dharmasya, whenever there is a decline of the religious, right, and dharma is really getting declined, right, religious getting declined, at that time I will appear. So how Lord is appearing in this Kali Yuga? Yes, and at this point of time, there is so much of discrepancies in discharge of the human duties. How there is a discrepancies currently? Because people have forgotten God realize, and they are just focusing on the how can I really get more and more and more, stressing only on the senses of the body. How can I really have a nice food for my tongue, or nice things to see, nice things to touch, and nice like just sense gratification, and not understanding the real need of the soul. And yes, they have not really understood the basics of Bhagavad Gita, how we are the soul, not the body, and how it is so important. And Prabhupada is saying how they have become so fallen that instead of understanding the living force in the body, people have become busy with so many external things. So that is a discrepancy at this point in time, the human, that the humanity is not able to do their duty. And therefore, Krishna has taken birth or taken shelter within this womb of Krishna conscious movement. And what is that? Like we say, Kali Kale Nama Rupe Krishna Avatar. The same Lord Krishna, he has appeared in the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. The Krishna conscious movement is spreading like wildfire all over the world, and it will go on. And men who are like Kamsa were very much afraid of movement's progress and acceptance by the younger generation. But as Krishna could not be killed by Kamsa, this movement cannot be checked by any man of Kamsa's class. The movement will go on increasing more and more, provided, this Prabhupada also telling that yes, it will go on, provided, very important. What is saying? Provided the leaders of the movement remain firmly Krishna consciousness by following the regulative principles and the primary activities of chanting Hare Krishna mantra regularly. First, he's saying that how that Lord Krishna has appeared in this Kali Yuga, in this form of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, in this Hare Krishna movement, and this will become unchecked, and it will spread like wildfire all over the world, and we see that how it is going everywhere, even during this so-called pandemic time, right? It is really growing so nicely, and all of you are coming so enthusiastically. Then Prabhupada is saying that yes, it will continue to grow on, right? Provided the leaders or the members of this movement, they continue to follow the 4 regulative principles and chanting of Hare Krishna. So it is very important for all of us, if we want to, bring Krishna, right, in this movement, and also, right, spread, in the life of everybody as members. Right, Prabhupada is saying we must do these 2 things. So that's how Krishna will empower us to spread this Krishna conscious movement everywhere. Okay, so there comes a third. All right, what is my duty now? The Supreme Lord who knows his purpose will not give up his prowess. Devaki is a woman. Right? So Kamsa started thinking, what should I do? Should I kill Devaki? But Devaki is a woman. She is my sister. And moreover, she is pregnant. If I kill her, my reputation, opulence, everything will be vanquished. So here, Kamsa started thinking, what should I do? If I just remain as it is, then yes, Lord has, Vishnu has appeared already in the womb of Devaki and he will vanquish, he will kill me. Can I now kill Devaki right now? But how can I kill? She is a woman and she is my sister and she is pregnant and she is under my shelter. And if I really kill in this situation her, right, all my fame, prestige and everything, because for a demon, the sense gratification, that fame, prestige is really important. And that will really go away. Now people will chastise me, people will revolt against me. And then wherever I go, what should I do? Thinking that, what he says, no. A person who is very cruel is regarded as dead even while living. For while he is living or after his death, everyone condemns him. And after that, after the death of a person in the bodily concept of life, he is undoubtedly transferred to the hell known as Antatama. Now he started thinking that how a person who is always in the bodily concept of life goes to Antatama, especially Ganta Tama Andham Tanumani Nadhrubam. Tamo Andham, So he goes to the Antatama, the darkest region of the hell. If somebody is really always in the bodily conscious of life. And if somebody is always thinking of how to gratify my senses, Prahlad Maharaj says, Danta Govir Visatam Tanis. So there are very beautifully, Lord Rishabdev also tells that the duty of a living entity, or especially the human being, is to really do some tapasya. And we should really think that as long as we have this human body, we said that it's a body of a prisoner, the dress of a prisoner. Asa napi klesada asa deha. Just like we say, Yasoda is, he gives fame, and this body is called klesada. Klesada means the body is always there to give misery to all of us. So we should not be just happy about, okay, how can I really continue to do this enjoyment, because it will continue to give me more and more klesa. Like here's how we should really get rid of this tanu, money, the thinking of this bodily consciousness. And then deliberating this way, Kamsa thought that although determined to continue the enmity towards the Supreme Lord, he refrained from killing his sister. He decided to wait until the Lord was born and then do what was needed. And while sitting, but what he was doing, he was always thinking of Krishna. While sitting on his throne or in his sitting room, while laying on the bed, or indeed while situated anywhere, while eating, sleeping, walking, Kamsa was saw only his enemy, the Supreme Lord, Krishna, Hrishikesh. In other words, by thinking of all his perverting enemy, Krishna became unfavorably Krishna consciousness. So one question we might ask, right? Like now Kamsa always started thinking Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Oh, Krishna has appeared. Now Krishna is here. Now Krishna is there. Now Krishna will kill me, or today will kill me, or tomorrow will kill me. How he will kill me? He was always thinking Krishna. But why he was not happy? He was Krishna consciousness. We always say, right? Right? We should be Krishna consciousness. Kamsa was Krishna consciousness. Why he was not happy? Prabhupada gives quoting from the Acharyas. He was unfavorably Krishna consciousness. His motive was that how to kill Krishna. But our bhakti means anukulena Krishnanusulena bhakti ruttam. Anukulena. We have to favorably dispose toward Krishna. Like there's a nice story like in Mahabharata. During the Kurukshetra war, one time Lord Krishna showed a very beautiful mirror and said that, in this mirror, if you see, like whoever is thinking of you, that form will appear in this mirror. And everybody is saying that, okay, who is thinking of me? And they were really realizing. Then Krishna also said that, okay, oh Krishna, once you see, whose face you see. And once Krishna saw that in that mirror, whose face came? Sakuni. Right? Yes, Sakuni was most Krishna consciousness, during Kurukshetra war, because he was the advisor of the Kauravas, and Krishna was the advisor of Pandavas. So Sakuni was always thinking, oh, what is Krishna doing now? Oh, what Krishna will do tomorrow? Oh, what kind of a plan he will have? So he was always thinking of Sakuni. Krishna was always thinking of Krishna. Right? But you know that, especially in B.R. Chopra serial also, in Mahavara serial, that whenever the Sakuni's episode comes, or whenever Sakuni is about to say something, beautifully sarcastic music comes. Is it something to glorify him or to really in a sarcastic way? Right? We understand, right? So Sakuni is not a devotee of Krishna. He's always unfavorably attached. Or like Prabhupada gives the modern context, all the scientists and the philosophers, they are trying to prove the non-existence of the Supreme Lord in such a determined way that they have forgotten everything. They don't want to really eliminate the existence of the Lord from the humanity. Right? Yes, but for a devotee, he always thinks, how can I really serve? How can I really please Krishna? That is the difference. Like when there was this person called Max Muller, right, during this British rule, he came, and did you know that he studied our Sanskrit and grammar, for years, not for a month like that. We are studying a Krishna book, right? Just studying a little bit, we are getting, how long we have to study, or this chanting, how long we have to do it. But this Max Muller, right, he was not studying in the association of the devotees. He was just all alone. Right? He was just trying to understand all the Sanskrit grammar so that he can understand all the Vedas, Upanishads. And he was doing for not months, years, and for around 30 years, he studied the English grammar. And so once he really learned, and then in the 31st year, he said, okay, how can I really define now all the Vedic principles so that I can establish the supremacy of like their philosophy. Right? And now you can see the determination of them, like how much absorbed they were to defame. Like this is the quality of the atheist or the demons, you can say, that how they want to kill Krishna. They want to really remove any kind of piety in the society. But we can learn from the devotees of the Lord, okay, because as you said, like we are going to Puri. Let me tell you one more beautiful pastime from Puri. One time there was some of who are in Odisha, you might have heard this pastime, and there is a beautiful devotee of the Lord, is called Dasya Bauri. At a certain point of time, if somebody is really born in a low class, he was not allowed to enter into the Jagannath temple. And this Dasya Bauri, he was staying in a place called Baligram. It's around 50 kilometers from Puri. And he had a long desire, right? Though he was born in a weaving family, he was not able to having a luxurious life, or he didn't have this thing that, okay, how can I really get the darshan of the Lord? And somehow he heard that, yes, Lord comes out, his Patita Pavan, the most merciful, and he comes out of his Garbhagriha from the Sri Mandira, on this Rath Yatra, to give his mercy to everybody. And with making up his mind, he came to Puri and seeing Lord Jagannath, 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 Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath. And I started just getting mad about Jagannath, seeing this beautiful eyes of Lord Jagannath, seeing the beautiful smile of Lord Jagannath. Nothing came into his face. Nothing. Right? Somehow, right, when this Rath Yatra was over and Lord had this Bahuda, and then he went back to Sri Mandira, he came back to his village. But then, he was so much mad for Jagannath, that nothing was coming really into his mind. That one day, his wife offered like food to him. Or like earlier, they used to do this clay mud plates, right? Like you can have red color, right? And within that, I put rice, it's like a white color, and in the middle, you put this spinach, the salt. Right? So you can see the black color. Seeing that, he started jumping. Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath. Because there he saw Jagannath. In the prasad, he saw Lord Jagannath. Most of the times, whatever we are doing, we always think of prasad, how to go and eat. But the devotee, for time was there for him to enjoy, right? But he was thinking of Lord Jagannath. Because that is the other example of how a devotee becomes positively Krishna consciousness. And then of course, in that village, like they realize how he has gone mad, and his wife was the most worried because how he will survive if he is really going mad. then the consultation of the elderly persons in that village, he said, no, okay, he has really become Jagannath consciousness now, so we have to give a right medicine. So what do you have to do? You have to bring a leaf plate. In that leaf plate, you have to bring the rice here and the spinach here. You don't bring all this together, because wherever he get a glimpse of the semblance of a Lord's form, right, he's not able to tolerate. And that's why devotees' life should be khaite suite. Whatever we do, we should be always think of Krishna. I remember the last session only in Radha Govindji. Right, I think some devotee was saying that, like, how, yes, that's a quality of a Uttam Bhakta, like advanced devotee, that he always sees Lord. Just like Prabhupada gives this example that like child has gone to the school, but the child's shoe is there or the dress is there. Mother thinking of another child, just seeing the shoe of the child or seeing the dress of the child. Similarly, whenever we see, we are all around. We see that, oh, Lord Krishna is so wonderful. He has designed so many things. He has planned so many things for us. We see Lord Krishna's hand everywhere. And that's why a devotee becomes positively Krishna conscious. Krishna Anusilana Bhakti. That's how we see. There's all the Goswamis of this Vrindavan or Mahaprabhu's associates. And they had everything. Tyaktva Turnam Asesa Mandalapati. They were Asesa Mandalapati. They were the kings and the ministers, but they left everything. And they were just living under a tree with just a rug cloth, and they were very happy. And here, Prabhupada says very beautifully, like he describes how a devotee is like Kaivalyam Narakayati, Tridasa Akasa Paskayati. Yes, while we joined Krishna consciousness, we always hear that this material world is the Khalayam Asaswatam. But for a devotee, what is it? Vishwam Purnam Sukhayate. Did you hear earlier? That for a devotee, this Vishwa, this material world becomes Purnam Sukhayate. And if somebody now next time tell you that the Khalayam Asasata, because yes, Lord Krishna was saying, if somebody is not Krishna consciousness, but somebody is Krishna consciousness, and specially, what? Yat karunya kataksa vaibhavatam tam gauram evastuna. If somebody has really received the kataksha, the glance of Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, for him, Vishwam Purnam Sukhayate. And Bidhi Mahendrasya Kitayate. Even the position of the heavenly planets like Indra or Brahma, it becomes like an insect. He doesn't care about anything because he is really receiving this Purna Ananda, Premananda. Like he considers everything as insignificant. So here, very beautifully, in this purport, like, and I would request all of you, you can just go through it, like especially these sections, how to be absorbed, how to be absorbed in Krishna consciousness, how to be positively absorbed in Krishna consciousness. Very, very nicely. Okay. Okay, let's move forward. So, and then what happens at that point of time? all the Devatas, they had prayed to the Supreme Lord. We heard that in the first chapter of Bhagavatam, this 10th canto of Bhagavatam, how all the Devatas they approached, on the bank of this Khir Sagar for the appearance of the Lord. And now they said that yes, Lord has appeared in the womb of or in the mind of Devaki, and all of them they came together. Brahma bhavasya tatra itya munibhi naradibhi devai sanucharai sakam giribhi vrishyanam aidyan. It's in Vrishana, like Lord is appeared as like rain. And then when Lord has appeared as a rain and to shower his causeless mercy, at that point of time, there appeared Brahma, Shiva, Narada, and everybody else there. So there, our acharyas are giving very beautiful analysis. Yes, Lord is there to shower his mercy upon all these, all the living entities, and there, like, is compared. What is compared? Brahma bhavasya taitra itya naradihi. So here, how everybody is coming together once again to share their gratitude to the Supreme Lord. Oh Lord, thank you very much for coming. And yes, we have kept your vows to really appear, and we are so grateful to you. And we are really being nourished by your presence in this material place, in this material world. And we are indebted to you for what you are doing. So, like once Lord is showering the mercy, this nectar of rains, right? Like it is considered that Brahma came, like because he said, okay, I am the chief cultivator and of the 14 worlds, and I am saying my gratitude to you. Bhavas, Shiva, Lord Shiva is saying that, oh, yes, like I am known for my dancing. Yes, the rain is, Lord is showering the rain, and I am here as a peacock. He started dancing with his feathers, with his dambru, and so on. And Narada, he is always there to sing. Right? And just like in a Chataka bird, they were waiting, with a great longing for the Lord's appearance, and they started, drinking the nectar, that is coming from the Lord. And all the Devatas, they were considered, they were like the suffering elephants. They were just suffering in that samsara davanala. They were suffering in the forest fire, with the torture of this Kamsa, Jarasandha, and other demons. And now they were so happy because there is a raining of the mercy of the Supreme Lord Krishna. And in that way, they were so happy. And then this chanted very beautiful verse, maybe we can remember. Now starts the prayers of the Devatas. Satyavrtam satya param trisatyam satyasya yonim nihitam cha satye satyasya satyam vrutu satya netram satyatmakam tvam saranam prapannam. This is a very beautiful verse, how it says that how Lord is the supreme absolute truth. You see, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, like so many times, Lord is described in so many ways as the supreme absolute truth. Yeah. So here, Devatas, they are offering their prayers to the Supreme Lord. And what is that prayer is all about? Prayer is all about being humble. Prayer is all about outpouring of our love. Prayer is all about right. This is the bridge, you can say, from connecting our material consciousness to spiritual consciousness. Prayer is all about, right, like to share like our love for the Supreme Lord. Prayer is a sign of humility. Prayer is a sign of the mood of dependence. Prayer is a sign of appreciation of the mercy. And because the prayers, they are not only just words of glorification, but also they are the deep internal, like glorification from the heart. And it's always important for all of us to connect, not only through words to the Supreme Lord, but through the heart to the Supreme Lord. And yes, That's why we should always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna, by always praying through this bandhana, like as all the devatas are doing in the form of a garbhasthiti. So this verse is really very beautiful, where devatas are saying that, oh Lord, you are the Satya-vratam. Yes, you had promised that you will come, and you have come. And Satya-param, you are the supreme absolute truth. There is no truth beyond you. And Tri-Satyam, you are the cause of appearance. You appeared before creation. You are there during the maintenance, and you are there even after the annihilation. You are there every time. Right? And Satyasya Yonim Nihitam, because of all the truth, you are, there is nothing beyond you. Satyasya Satyam Rutu Satya Netram, yes, you are there to give pleasure to everybody. And Satyatmakam Tvam Saranam Prapanna, and the supreme absolute truth is really taking center of you. Oh Lord, Prapanna, the quality of a devotee is Prapanna, to surrender the Supreme Lord. So we'll continue in our discussion, like how devatas are praying to the Lord, that how he is the cause of all causes, how he gives protection to the devotees, how some people, they are not able to appreciate and take shelter of the Lord. And then devatas also talk about how Lord's lotus feet, and they are like boat. Once we take shelter of that, we can really cross over this material ocean, so beautifully. And then what is the Lord's purpose when he appears? And in this way, very beautifully, all the devatas glorify the Supreme Lord. Hare Krishna. So that's why I just wanted to be, elaborate a little bit today about once again the mood of Vasudeva, Devaki, and this how Kamsa became unfavorably Krishna consciousness. And then how all the devatas started praying their gratitude to the Supreme Lord. Hare Krishna. Any questions, comments, thoughts?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, the one thing, actually, there are two things. One, it seems that we have been saying that it is Bholenath. Lord Shiva is very merciful. But now it feels that nobody is more merciful than Lord Krishna, that he is so innocent that anybody who is not even appreciating him, he's thinking of Krishna, and then he's still shower his mercy on him. Like Kansa, who is Krishna consciousness, maybe his intentions are not that great, but still the mercy will fall on him as well, not only for the devotees, but he is merciful to whoever is talking about him. He is full of love. He doesn't differentiate whether what is your bhav while talking about Krishna.
Yes,
So
yes.
this is one wonderful thing which I learned, that yes, Krishna is the most merciful. Not only we always say that Bholenath bahut bhole hai, but I think nobody is more innocent than Lord Krishna himself.
Yes.
And the second thing in the session is that yes, we need to learn how to pray to Lord, because throughout from our childhood we have been told that pray to God, thank him for food and ask him for good marks and good grades. But I really want that you should take one session how to pray to Lord. We need to learn that. So that's a request. Someday please arrange a session for us on this. Hare Krishna.
Definitely, yes. We'll discuss what is a prayer, how should we pray, who is the object of prayer, and so on. We'll discuss matters. Thank you very much for bringing this topic. And then, as you said on that other point, that how Lord is so merciful, not only to the devotees, but also to the demons. And some time back, we had chanted this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 3.2.20. It says, Tatheva chanya naraloka vira yahave Krishna mukharavinda netre pivanto nayana bhirama parthastra puta padama purasya. So here, Uddhava is saying to Vidura that, who can be more merciful, the Supreme Lord Krishna? Because like this is one, right? How the all the soldiers who were there in the Kurukshetra war, right, were there as enemies, but somehow or other, they saw that beautiful smile of the Supreme Lord Krishna. Nentre pivanto nayana virama. They just appreciated a little bit, right? The beauty of Lord Krishna. And then, they got touched by the astra of Arjuna. Parthastra puta. Puta means purified. Now, as soon as they touched by even the arrows of Arjuna, right, they got purified. So their body got purified through the astra of Arjuna, and their mind became purified, and their consciousness become purified by seeing the beautiful form of Krishna. How Lord and his devotees are so merciful. And then he goes further, and he says, next verse he says, Aho bakiyam stanakala kuta jighamsa payayatapi asadvim lebhe gatim dhatri uchitam tatonyam kamba dayalum saranam prajema. Kamba dayalum saranam prajema. Adhava is saying that who is more merciful than Lord Krishna? Kamba dayalum. Can you tell me somebody is more merciful or the most merciful? And I'll take shelter. But I think that Krishna is the most merciful. Why? Because somebody has come to kill Krishna, like in the form of a mother. Who is that? Baki. Baki is that? Putana. Somebody has come, like we'll discuss in maybe over next couple of months, hopefully sooner. Right? How Putana came just to kill Krishna. But then he gave her the position of a Dhatri, as a position of a mother. Who can be more merciful than Krishna? This is how the devotees really glorify the Supreme Lord. Thank you very much. Yes, good. Remember this beautiful pastimes. How Lord is so merciful. It's really up to us to open our heart and to become positively absorbed and to really think of these beautiful qualities of the Lord. We should always meditate on this Nam Roop Gun Lila of the Lord. Instead of really thinking of so many things, instead of so many Maya consciousness and material consciousness, we should be Krishna consciousness. That should be our absorption. And absorption means determination, attention with determination. We said intention, attention, absorption. These are really very important. And absorption in Krishna, absorption and love in Krishna is the highest perfection of life. And just like in absorption, when we talk about the, like the sponge, once you put it in the water, it soaks the water. But if the sponge is really, surrounded or covered with the plastic, and if you put it in the water, will it really absorb water? No. Right. Similarly, once you're in the association of the devotees, once you're chanting of the holy name, right? Once you're reading Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam, right? We should really open up ourselves. We should open our mind. We should open our heart, so that we can absorb the mercy of Krishna. But still, if we have so many doubts, so many, our thoughts, opinions, then we are putting a covering. No, I don't want to really enter Krishna's mercy within our heart. Yes, our absorption means opening our heart, opening our mind, and to receive the mercy in that humble mood. Yes, the mind will continue to, be like chatterbox, with so many thoughts. But we have to silence it, with determination, with that absorption, that yes, I am with Krishna, the most merciful Lord, and I don't want to get attached to these, the broken pieces of glass, because I am with the diamond right now. We have to realize that. Hare Krishna. Any other thoughts, comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
ये आपने आज कृष्ण कॉन्शियसनेस के बारे में जो बताया, हमें प्रचार करते करते लॉर्ड कृष्णा के कितने अच्छे भक्त बन जाते हैं, उनके बारे में सबको बताते बताते श्रील प्रभुपाद जी ने जो हमें आज्ञा दी है उसके बारे में आपने बताया। और आपने बताया कि प्रभु जी मैं भूल गई।
Yeah, so like the most important thing is that yes, how to be absorbed in Krishna, how to be Krishna conscious, that is important.
आपने सुखदेव की माँ के बारे में और सारा कुछ वो फिलोसफी बताया, और मुझे सबसे अच्छा लगता है कि आप अच्छे से वो श्लोक्स को आप सिंग करते हैं ना, वो मैं आपसे गेन करना चाहती हूँ। वैसे ही मैं भी गाना चाहती हूँ, कोशिश करती हूँ अभी वो, लेकिन
श्लोका है, there are various aspects to understand, एक तो श्लोका का मेलोडी अच्छा है, एक मीनिंग also अच्छा है, and then a mood अच्छा है, so we have to really go deeper and deeper into the layers, yes, first thing is that yes, it is so melodious, because this is coming from Krishna, from Krishna, from Vasudeva, from Sudhir Goswami, because it's a full nectar, and then it's not only so sweet in the melody, but also so sweet in the and so deep in the meaning also, जैसे हम थोड़ा एक एक शब्द के जैसे प्रभुपाद उसने हम देखा कि ज्ञान खेला, knowledge is meant for distribution, and how people are not distributing the knowledge, how they are keeping it, how they are concocting knowledge. प्रभुपाद just दो शब्द को कितना विस्तार से बताया है कि चैतन्य महाप्रभु का मिशन है हमको डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करने का, एंड ये कली काले नाम रूप कृष्ण अवतार है, ये भगवान कृष्णा बोलते हैं ये कलयुग में कैसे आएंगे, कब आएंगे, यस ऑलरेडी है हरे कृष्णा महामंत्र के तौर से, सो हमको ये मंत्र लेने का है, एंड देन वी कैन फील द प्रेजेंस ऑफ कृष्णा इन आवर हार्ट।
जी एक चीज और ऐड करना चाहती हूँ प्रभु जी, आपने वो जो एग्जांपल दिया कि अगर हम कंस की तरह वो कृष्णा को याद करेंगे तो वो फेवरेबल नहीं है, जैसे कि एग्जांपल के थ्रू मैं अपने तरफ से जोड़ना चाहती हूँ कि वो कैट एंड रैट का रिलेशन हो जाता है जब हम कंस की तरह वो भक्ति करते हैं, और जब हम एक दूसरे तरह से हम जब सच्चे हृदय से भक्ति करते हैं तो कैट और उसके वो उसका जो बच्चा होता है उसके जैसा रिलेशन कि वो अपने माउथ में लेता है, बट एक बच्चे को अपने सेफ करने के लिए लेता है, बट रैट को लेता है तो उसे खाने के लिए लेता है। ये फिलॉसफी मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता है कि हमें उनसे रिलेशनशिप एक बच्चे वाला बना ले या कोई और रिलेशन बना ले तो वो हमें सेव करेंगे।
Very good, thank you Mataji, yes, you have to take shelter of the Lord।
जी प्रभु जी,
प्रपन्ना
जी उसे प्रपन्ना बोलते हैं।
yes
जी ओके, थैंक यू प्रभु जी, हरे कृष्णा।
Any other thoughts, comments from anyone? I see today our Shweta Mataji, Mataji's mother, brother, everybody has joined. Thank you Mataji for joining. Hare Krishna, I see Harita Mataji. Thank you, so many of you have joined.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandvat Pranam.
Hari Bol.
Yes, Prabhuji, I can say after attending your sessions, whatever stress or whatever doubts or whatever kind of difficulties are there in my mind, they get dissolved so easily that as soon as the sessions get over, I go straight to my mom and I tell her that yes, and now I am fine. So I can say that this is completely a stress buster for me in all regards. Prabhuji, really thank you so much.
कृष्णा सूर्य समा माया है अंधकार, जहाँ कृष्णा तहाँ नहीं माया अंधकार। What is it? Wherever there is a Krishna, there is a light, because Krishna is just like a sun, and whenever there is a sun like Surya, there cannot be any darkness. So our only objective is to bring Krishna in our heart, and that Krishna can appear through his Naam, Rupa, Guna, Lila. Naam, through the chanting of the holy name, we just take shelter, right, through Prabhupada's japa, or like we somehow or other take mala and start chanting the holy name, as and when required. Rupa, you see the beautiful form of Lord Jagannath, Lord Krishna, how beautiful, how sweet they are, just to sour their mercy, they have appeared in this form. So we appreciate Lord's beautiful form, beautiful smile, beautiful eyes, how sweet they are, and then Rupa, Guna, like the qualities, just we heard that how merciful he is, that yes, Lord has some bigger plans. We might not be able to understand, but he has some bigger special plan for us. Having that faith is very important at any point of time.
Yes,
it's like a child sometimes. Yes,
yeah. No, Prabhuji, please.
Yeah, so just like a child, sometimes he doesn't understand why, like currently my son is giving exam, and I always think, why I have to go through so much of difficulty.
Yes.
Right? Like sometimes, we don't understand, but then yes, after the exam, there is some glory is there, right? Yes, that is in this material world, the happiness born out of passion is that yes, it might look some nectar in the beginning, but the poison at the end. And the happiness of the ignorance is what, it is really poison from beginning to the end. But especially what's in the mode of goodness, yes, there is some austerity, there is some difficulty which might look like a poison in the beginning, but there is a nectar at the end. Let's not be worried about, yes, like as we heard, for a non-devotee, for the materialist people, it looks like Dukhalayam Asasotam. This place is a misery. There is nothing we can get it. So miserable place. But for a devotee, Vishwam Purnam Sukhayate. For a devotee, this whole place is a place of bliss, because he has received the glance of the Lord. Yes, it takes different stages, for us, right? At least, first we can, just tolerate, and then we can forget the misery, and then we can cooperate with the plan of the Lord. We can complement with the plan of the Lord. So there are different stages, but we have to move in the direction of the Lord, because that is a
Yes.
Path given by the acharyas. We'll be hearing this in the praise of the demigods. They are saying that our acharyas have already given us the path, and they have crossed this ocean in a boat, and they have left the boat also for us. Okay, take this boat and you come over now. So you have to just take this boat. What is that boat? Boat of the lotus feet of the Lord. Boat is that this Nam Rup Guna Lila of the Lord. You have to just take center of it, and we have to also cross over it. Because this is a proven path. This is the proven tool that is already there. But you have to make use of the tool, and you have to move ahead.
Yes, Prabhuji, because as per my knowledge, my consciousness is not so elevated, it's so contaminated because of association devotees like you. I'm feeling the difference in my life, I'm feeling that, and I don't think that Krishna can give more than this to me. It's like everything to me. I can say that.
Yes, we have to pray, Lord Jagannath, that we have to pray for each other.
Yes, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Hari Bol. Thank you. Any other thoughts, comments? I know we are already 9:18 today. Thank you very much. So most probably next Thursday we might not have session, because as you said, we'll be in Puri week long, and we'll be absorbed in Jagannath Katha. So you might get in touch with our YouTube live session. Then, so, thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hari Bol.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.